Hello, today I would like to explain how to read the entirety of Archival. I'm going to go ahead and roll the clip, and after that, I'll break it down into its individual steps. Let's get rolling. Archival again.
Boring blade rod omega.
Kill it. Dead. Suited died, but that's okay. Just get him up. Alright, now that we've seen an albeit not perfect Archival, let's break down the mechanics, how you can read them, and what each mechanic requires you to do. We'll start with the combined cross-platform laser and electric slide mechanics. First off, I want to start by explaining a mechanic I see a lot of people misreading in pug groups. How to read the direction of the laser that will be going across the platform before the telegraph appears. As you see on this freeze frame, the boss has a glowing white set of discs around him. Based on the orientation of these discs, you can conclude that the laser will be going approximately in the direction of the arrows you see here. In other words, perpendicularly of the discs. If you're tanking the boss here, you can slightly offset the boss from the discs by standing here. This will make it less of a guessing game because the boss will always rotate at least a little bit. This lets you know the boss has rotated and you can begin running to the arm that you need to kill to complete the mechanic. Before we continue, here's another frame that shows the discs around the boss after the white glow is faded. Now we can go over how to identify which arm you need to kill. From this clip, you see shortly after the discs have reappeared, the boss rotates slightly and the telegraph for the laser begins. Side note, you should pop sprint here or even as early as the end of the Archival cast so that you're fast enough to make it to the end of the platform while you become familiar with these mechanics. Now you should note this set of red or blue arrows rotating around the boss. These arrows indicate the direction that the laser will rotate around the platform. If you're colorblind, don't worry. You can also look at the direction that the arrows are rotating to distinguish the direction the cross-platform laser will go. While looking at the boss's back, the red arrows rotate left around the boss and the blue arrows rotate right around the boss. Now, do you remember that slight rotation the boss did at the beginning of the clip? That rotation is an indicator of what you need to do next. You need to identify which way he's facing and then look for his back. You'll want to run away from Omega's backside, and I'll explain why in just a moment. This next part is important. As you run away from the back of the boss, determine which direction the laser is going. Do not try to determine which direction the laser is rotating without getting away from the back of the boss, as that will get you killed by the proximity AoE, Electric Slide. Yep, Omega has been casting that while you've been figuring out where he's facing. As soon as you know which direction the laser is going, go to the safe side of the laser, but make sure you're running away from the boss while you're trying to determine which direction the laser is rotating. So if the laser is rotating left around the platform while facing the boss's back, you'll turn around and want to be on the left side of the laser, and vice versa. Awesome. You've made it past the first couple of mechanics, and now you're attacking an arm that wants to kill you with a colossal blow. This is the DPS check of Archival, but there are still additional mechanics you have to handle to be able to move on to Hello World 2. You remember how you just ran to the safe side of the laser, away from the boss's back? Yeah, now you have to make sure you're tightly stacked with your party. Why? Everyone in your party is about to be targeted with a ground AoE, called Floodlight. As soon as those ground markers appear, 4 people will be targeted with fire markers, 1 person will be targeted with a stack marker, and 3 people won't have any markers at all. How you approach this mechanic will vary by group. Some groups just wing it, other groups will assign specific spread positions based on your role. Really, the big thing to note is 1 tank, 1 healer, and 2 DPS will be randomly given fire markers. The stack marker will be assigned to a random person that didn't get a fire marker, and then you have the remaining 3 people without markers. You'll want everyone to spread away from the AoE telegraphs on the ground. As you're doing so, identifying if you have a fire marker, the stack marker, or no markers at all. Naturally, you want to make sure you don't overlap the fire markers. As soon as the Floodlight AoE markers disappear, the stack marker and the 3 without fire markers need to return to where the party baited the ground AoEs, while the fire markers stay put or continue to adjust. All this while working to kill the arm unit. As you're spreading for the fire markers, Omega will come back into range of the party, and hopefully right about this time, you've killed the arm unit and your fire markers are detonating. The 4 people who had fire markers will then move back into the area where the ground AoEs were baited with the rest of their party. You do this because there are 5 other arm units around the platform that will complete their cast of Colossal Blow, which is a large, fatal AoE. Now let's put everything together. As Archive All completes its cast, the white discs appear and the 6 arm units populate around the platform. Additionally, the boss is slightly offset from the discs to let us know when the boss has faced the direction he would jump for Electric Slide. The red arrows that are rotating clockwise around the boss appear, along with a cross-platform laser telegraph. As he begins casting Electric Slide, the party determines which direction the boss is facing and turns to run away from the back of the boss, going to the left of the laser telegraph. With the exception of the machinist, who, as you can see, still had ample time to rejoin the rest of the group despite running to the wrong side of the laser. We begin to attack the arm unit that we're behind, stacked tightly to bait our floodlight ground AoEs. As the ground AoEs appear, the party spreads out, identifying whether they have a fire marker, the stack marker, or no markers at all. The stack marker and the no markers then dive back into the safe spot after the ground AoEs disappear. The stack marker and the fire markers then detonate simultaneously as the boss comes back into melee range. The people who had fire markers then return to the rest of the party just before the remaining fists around the platform complete their Colossal Blow casts. Congratulations! You have cleared Archive All. Now you can move on to Hello World 2, and hopefully you'll be able to clear it. It shouldn't be that difficult. You've already done Hello World 1. All that you have to do now is handle the rot and the towers properly, and you'll be good to go. Best of luck. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful, make sure you subscribe and visit the Atomic House of Pancakes on Twitch at the link in the video description below. Happy raiding!